self-improvement is masturbation.
Tyler Durden is talking about me. I was a self-improvement masturbator. And what I mean by this is I was self-improving for the ego. I was doing all these habits and these actions to cross it off in a checklist, to tell myself and my ego how productive and how disciplined I was, and to tell all my friends, oh, I meditated today and I read 2 hours. It was all an ego trip and just as futile as masturbation. You know, all these habits the community talks about, no fab, cold showers, meditations, everything, they are all great, but habits don't make a man. If somebody came up to me and said, I read 2 hours a day because I want to be a psychologist and help people, and reading these papers helps me understand and advance my career, I'd be like, okay, that's pretty cool. And if somebody came up to me saying, I read 2 hours a day because Hamza told me it's a good thing to do and Hamza is my god, I would think he's a total fucking loser, right? It's not the reading in and of itself that makes him anything, it's why he's doing it, and it's the same thing with discipline overall. You can be on self-improvement and still be a total loser. Because although from what I've observed, every great man in history has had discipline, not everyone with discipline is a great man. And for me, until I looked in my core and asked to myself truly, why am I self-improving? Who do I want to become? My self-improvement was stunted. It's the end of the year now and I've read about 54 books and I definitely could be reading more, but that's a fucking massive jump from the year before, and it was because I've been reading for a purpose this year. I'll be talking about that later in the video. If you look at one of the most popular dudes in self-improvement right now, Hamza, he's disciplined, he's jacked, he's self-improving, everything, but in my opinion, what drives him and what moves him and what makes him from good to great, it's that purpose he had instilled in him from the start.
So for example, my mission is to help young men improve themselves. The reason why that's my mission is because I've lived the life of a Jeffrey. I've lived that total life of instant gratification of pleasure, and I overcame it. I got out of it by myself. There was no YouTuber who I was able to follow, who I was able to like relate to at the time.
You could tell how genuinely he wanted people to avoid the path of folly and degeneracy that he followed. And through that passion and that overall purpose to make young men's lives better, he was able to use that discipline for an overarching purpose. I respect the shit out of him for that, although I think maybe he's forgetting that a little bit in recent times, but hey, maybe that's just my opinion. See, self-improvement is the means to become the man you are, not the ends. Now, I don't want to be a total Jordan Peterson dick rider, but one thing he said really stuck with me. The antidote to suffering is not happiness, it's meaning. Once we attach a meaning and purpose to our actions, it doesn't matter how miserable you are, how upset you are, how angry you are, you have to do shit because there's something more important than your emotions. There's something driving you and your actions every single day, and once you're able to get that, your self-improvement just skyrockets. And finding that purpose is difficult. For me, becoming a high value man to pull a bunch of chicks and get a bunch of money wasn't enough for me. I had to look deeper, and for me, I don't know if this is the case for other people, but my purpose comes from my deepest pains and wanting to avoid that, and also helping other people avoid that. You know, when I was a young kid, I felt so hopeless, and when I turned to some of these writers and these philosophers and they were able to articulate so deeply what they were talking about, it felt like somebody understood me. And without tirelessly spending my time reading all these philosophers and these great writers, I don't know where I'd be right now. And I told myself when I was that lonely, I'm gonna do what I can in my life to make sure people never felt the way I did. So reading philosophy and these great writers is what helps me on that path. And before, when I just read because, you know, it's a good habit, I only read half an hour a day, but because it's truly in alignment with my purpose and my value system, I read way fucking more, and it's not difficult to tear through Plato and Descartes or anybody because it fits my purpose, and that drives me every single day. And no matter how shit I'm feeling, no matter how sad I am, no matter how upset I am, that overarching purpose carries me beyond, and that's why I'm self-improving. That's why I want to become a worthy person and a worthy man to accomplish that, because I feel like it's so important. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about in this video. Look at yourself in the core. It's going to be different for you. Find a why for that self-improvement, and that shit is going to be way more productive. Thanks for watching.